like your favorite snacks. And now, imagine walking straight from the store to a dumpster and throwing 1/3 of those groceries away. Unthinkable, right? But that's exactly what's happening in a global scale. According to the United Nations, about 1.3 billion tons of food are wasted every year. Not only does this result in over $715 billion in economic losses, but it also creates environmental damage that we often don't even see. As students and future professionals, the way we handle food reflects the kind of world that we are helping to build. What we throw away today doesn't just disappear, but it comes back in the form of climate change, social inequality, and environmental degradation. But it also means that we have the power to change the outcome, simply by being more mindful of what's on our plate and in our bins. Good day, everyone. My name is Aisyah, and today I want to talk to you about a crisis that's hidden in plain sight, which is food waste. It affects our environment, our communities, and even our wallets. Yet many of us don't realize the extent of the damage or how easily we can be part of the solution. In preparing for this speech, I have dived into research, and I've also started applying waste reduction practices in my own home. These small efforts have taught me that the solution is not only possible, but it is practical and achievable. Reducing food waste is a crucial step toward building a more sustainable world, and it starts with us by making informed and conscious choices every day. In the next few minutes, I will walk you through three main ideas. The first one is the scope and causes of the food waste problem, and the second one, the environmental and social effects it produces, and finally, the simple actions each of us can take to make a real difference. To truly grasp the urgency of this issue, let's begin by looking at how widespread of the problem of food waste really is. Many consumers often unknowingly waste large amounts of edible food that ends up in increasing the size and toxicity of the landfills around the world. The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations report that 1.3 billion tons of food are wasted globally each year. That's nearly 1/3 of all food produced for human consumption. It's not just happening in one country, but it's a global issue fueled by overbuying, poor storage, and simply not valuing food as we should. The Environmental Protection Agency (EPA) reports that food waste accounts for about 24% of all municipal solid waste in U.S. landfills. This means nearly a quarter of the trash is food that could have been eaten. Think of how many meals that could have been, how many families could have benefited from the food, and instead it ends up buried in landfills. Picture your college cafeteria at the end of the day. How many half-eaten sandwiches, untouched fruits, or trays of rice and vegetables get dumped? Now, multiply that by every cafeteria, restaurants, and home kitchen across the globe every single day. That's the scale of the problem that we are facing. But the issue isn't just about the waste, it's about what happens after we throw food away. Because food waste doesn't just vanish, it transforms into something far more dangerous. When food ends up in landfills, it decomposes and releases methane, which is a greenhouse gas that is far more potent than carbon dioxide and significantly accelerates climate change. According to the BuzzFeed 2025 and EPA data, when organic waste like fruits, vegetables, and grains decays in landfill without oxygen, it produces methane. Methane is up to 25 times more effective than carbon dioxide at trapping heat in the atmosphere. The EPA 2023 also states that methane emissions from landfill are a leading contributor to global warming. Unlike composting, when organic matter returns nutrient to the soil, food in landfills become a toxic liability, polluting the air and contributing to rising global temperature. Just imagine this. If food waste were a country, it would be the third largest emitter of greenhouse gases behind only the United States and China. It's ironic that while millions of people go hungry, the excess food we waste is actually hitting the planet and damaging ecosystems. But here where the power of hope and action comes in. While the problem is massive, the solutions are practical and within reach. One of the most effective ways individuals and communities can reduce food waste is by embracing meal planning and mindful consumption in daily life. According to WANI 2025, effective strategies like meal planning, proper food storage, and conscious consumption can dramatically reduce household food waste. These aren't complicated ideas, but they are simple habits we can build. Food sustainability advocate Daniel 2023 emphasized that meal planning is the #1 way to reduce waste at home. When you know what you're going to cook and eat, you are far less likely to let food expire and go unused. These aren't just action for adults or family. They are things that students like us can do starting today. Now that we have looked at the roots of the problems, the effects, and some practical solutions, let's take a moment to reflect on why this matters and what we can do next. These strategies shows us that we don't need to make huge sacrifices or drastic changes. Just small mindful actions and that done consistently can create big results. We started by recognizing how everyday behaviors contribute to the massive problem of food waste. We then explored how waste food releases methane and harms our environment. And finally, we looked at realistic actions like meal planning and proper storage that can reduce waste, promote sustainability, and even save money. So, here's what I encourage you to do today. Take one step. It doesn't have to be big. Maybe you start by finishing leftovers or checking your fridge before you shop, or even just talking to a friend about what you learned today. Every choices we make around food is a chance to reduce waste and show respect for the earth, for each other, and for future generations. Because food is more than just a fuel, it is a gift, a resources, and a responsibility. Let's stop treating it like trash. Let's start treating it like the treasure it truly is for our planet, for future, and for a more sustainable tomorrow. Thank you.